And then so, Steve was recounting the story of just the humor of watching Bruce O'Byrne sprint from like Wichita all the way down to the front dock. And we just thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then we slept out in Steve's boat. And I remember, Donnie, I think you slept in Steve's boat at least one night.
Yeah, it was freezing that
It
morning,
was
and we were
freezing
soaking
cold. We
wet.
froze our butts off. Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah,
Scott were like
and it
in the
was
cabin
it was so foggy you couldn't
in the
ski
deck.
anyway, so it was a waste of time.
That's amazing. Okay, that's a good story. Okay, I think that's enough questions. Have we satisfied your mom, Don?
Oh, you guys, yeah, you
Yeah.
overperformed.
Yeah, I think you guys brought it pretty good. All right. Let us
This is good stuff.
continue then. All right. So this is Blast from the Past. These are pictures that you guys that you shared with us, and I think I put in one or two. I think we had you in a couple pictures from other guests, Dave. So I think I'm going to include one or two more of those.
Yeah.
So we can't go wrong starting with the original GLP, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the same summer I worked with Amy in the Woodlands Dining Hall, and this was Christmas in August. And so just a quick story about Donnie's grandpa. So when I was and this is the summer of 91, when I was the assistant cashier, it was my job to bring the report about the finances up to your grandpa's office on Monday morning and then on Thursday after the offering. And I got to tell you, the only number he cared about, Donnie, was the missionary offering. That's the only number he wanted to know.
Interesting.
Wow.
I, as a long-term staffer, I think we became a little callous to sometimes your grandfather becomes so emotional talking about Midge Pittman or Skookheim Conference Center or Dindo Camp or Scotty Nyborg or whatever. But he really, really sincerely cared about the missions program with all of his heart.
I love that.
Yeah. From hearing about a few of the missionaries that had conversations with him, they were always on the brink. They weren't sure if they were kind of going year to year. But after they talked with him, he would say, "We'll find a way to keep you afloat for another year, and let God handle it." And so yeah, who's the guy on the right here? We've seen him a few times.
I recognize him. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Steve Molbeck. I think he married Jill Tordock.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was Nick Fiore, Steve, and myself. We were the three Woodlands bus guys that summer.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta say, Dave, you look like you were carrying a lot of like heavy stuff. You were jacked up there, man. You were.
Yeah. Let me give you my Dave Hughes. Okay.
Yeah.
I put Dave Hughes and Don Miller in the same category of ultimate stud.
So did Dave.
I was so jealous of you guys. You guys were the ultimate studs at camp.
Can I just correct the record here just real quick? I need to set the record straight with that whole thing. So I'm going to paint a quick picture. I'll do this really fast. I'm at Christine Falls with Paul Voltmer. And we're there. We think we're all that because we, run off the little cliff there on the roadside into the pool. We jump off. I think it's defunct now, but there was like a log or something you could jump off for a couple extra feet and all this type of thing. And Donnie rolls in there with his posse, like Kick That Word, and probably Jay was there and Ron Kukin or whatever. And Donnie takes his shirt off and just so nonchalantly runs off the cliff, and you think he's going to do a dive, and at the last second he does a flip, and he sticks the landing away like Simone Biles would he be proud of the way he stuck the landing. And Paul and I are just like this.
I remember that.
Did you see that, man? That was unbelievable.
Just because
the whole thing, I don't buy thank you, Tom. I appreciate it, but we all know the truth. Like, if you ever want your son-in-laws to know the truth, send them my way. I know the truth.
I have plenty of pictures and video of Don Purdy that totally substantiate what you're saying, Dave. So yes, here's you and Don Miller. Here's Don Purdy. Here's me. I'm even off screen. I'm down here. That's how I remember it. But yeah, I
Right.
hear what you're saying. I've said this on a couple of these interviews. He's that annoying person that if he wants to win a game of basketball, he'll just start playing and
Yes.
then take over the game. That's kind of how he goes through life, and it's okay. I'm just glad to be there to witness it. Is how I feel about it.
One other really quick story. So we're skiing with a pack of young adolescent males over at Oak Mountain, right? And so everybody takes their turn going off a jump. So as you come down Sacandaga,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I know where this is going. This is the same story, different setting.
So yes, it is the
Right.
same
Yeah,
story.
I know.
So one's a summer, one's a winter.
Yeah.
So everybody comes down, does their cute little daffy thing, back scratcher. Woo!
He's going to do this.
Donnie comes down and doesn't do a single helicopter. He
Yeah,
does a double helicopter.
I've seen
But
it.
it
And
happened.
the
It's
hill,
real.
the bump he's jumping off is this
Yeah.
tall.
Yeah,
There's no.
he got
there's
all
no
of 6 inches
ramp.
off the ground and he rotated 720 degrees. I saw
know.
him.
I
He was
know.
there.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
But we know the truth, Don. Like let's let the truth be told.
I bet he could still do it too.
I bet he can.
There's something that's called muscle memory that they can trick you, gentlemen. Yeah, that was very flattering. Most of what you suggested,
It's true.
there was truth to it, but much of it was foolery and ended up with me in casts and stitches and. So whether it was worth it, thank you. Oh, great trip down memory lane.
Hilarious. Yeah. I'll bet we could find a spring and fall to go with those summer and winter stories, Dave.
Well, Tom, I'm going to share soon. I'm still sitting on some unwatched footage of Christine Falls and some of those jumps and things, and so yeah. Wow. All right. So moving on.
That's hilarious. All right, let's keep going here.
All right.
So we got a saw on the wall. What are we doing?
Yeah, so this is the story. So Amy was there, Don. I don't know if she remembers, but in the previous picture with your grandpa, there was a Christmas tree behind us. It was Christmas in August. So the staff of the Woodlands Dining Hall was tasked with going out and getting a Christmas tree. And so we thought we could have gone to Jerry Bird's shop and gotten a saw, but it would be a whole lot more fun if we took one off the wall at Woodlands, used it to chop down the Christmas tree, and then returned it. So this is us. This is us taking the saw off the wall in Woodlands to go cut down the Christmas tree for the dining room for Christmas in August.
Amazing.
Who took
And I
the
think
picture?
the whole crew was there. I think literally literally all 12 of us from the wait staff all went out.
Is this the tree that you cut down?
Right.
Christmas back there. We cut it down with that saw. So,
Oh, I love that. I should have put these pictures reversed. That works.
Yeah. So I have to tell one other quick story, and I think Hank, you were there. So we used to play Deerfoot in soccer every summer, right? Like the staff, right? And invariably we would get our heads handed to us, right? And after we're like walking away, we've just gotten our butts kicked, and they're over there singing, we're the boys from Deerfoot Lodge, always a winning, always a grinning, always feeling, and it's like this slow burn, like. I'm a nice guy, but I can only take that so many times before I'll show you. Always a grinning, always feeling peppy. And the fun thing was that summer that I worked with Amy again, there was a couple other like-minded people. I think Mark Eastep was one of them, and he had a cousin Dan, pretty good soccer player. But Steve Molbeck was a rock star sweeper. He literally was a shutdown sweeper. And Donnie, you played for us. I don't even know if you're on staff, I think. But anyway, you played in that game.
I remember playing, yeah, and I was like, wow, this is intense. They were building it up. I had played in basketball games a few years prior.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the intensity was still like that white hot.
It was hot. Amazing. And in that game in 1988, we beat them 4-1 or 3-1. We beat them. We spanked them. And it felt so good. Oh, talk about cathartic. Yeah, I mean, it was just unbelievable. And Steve Molbeck, lock down the defense. He
I
he just
remember
was a
that,
brick
Dave.
wall.
Wow,
He was
that
a brick wall.
is.
He was a brick wall.
No,
I remember thinking if we're
another
gonna go, yeah, if we're
another
gonna go,
good name, James Armstrong too on that team.
Yeah,
yeah.
we
Quality
pulled some
player.
Raiders in there.
Scott
We-
Olson played too, I believe. He just did whatever he wanted, if I recall. You could maybe you could vouch for that. I in my head I remember thinking, yeah, if we wow, 4-1, you remember the score. That's that's excellent. Yeah,
I love
that
it.
felt good.
Okay, what else we got? Who do we have here?
Ah,
All right. So this is, of course, is Dave Thompson looking every bit of the LL Bean catalog model that he was in those days.
Yes.
And so the reason I pulled this out here is that I watched just like literally 20 minutes of, you sort of do like a season recap wherever he comes back, like, and gets to sort of share
Oh, yeah.
what they wish they had shared or something. And in that, Beth Dodds had mentioned just very briefly, like as an aside, like Dave Thompson and I took a trip to Penn State to visit Dave Hughes, and I was like,
Okay.
"That's right,
oh, excellent.
And
This
so
is the picture. So I recognize the Nittany Lion there.
yeah, this
Did you
is
go
the
to
Nittany
Penn
Lion.
State? Because you
I
have a
went to
Penn State.
Yes.
You,
Hey,
you went
Doc,
to Penn
hey,
State?
did I go to Penn State? Yes,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So
So,
I'm a
this-
Penn State graduate as well, Dave,
are you really, Tom?
but not main campus and not undergraduate. I got my master's degree at Penn State Harrisburg, but we're
Okay.
Penn State graduates.
Yeah, always. Yeah. Well, so that's great. I did not know that. So, the reason I'm poking fun at Donnie Miller is the fact that Clemson played Penn State this year in the toilet bowl. What was it, like the Bad Boy Bowl at the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium? And so on the day of that game, he and I were exchanging some trash talk, and we'll just say the good guys won, right, Tom? So yeah,
That's amazing. I
Wow.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great
How
picture.
convenient that he had to step away at this moment. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he doesn't want us to see his sad face.
Yeah.
There it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
Just think about it. We had lengthy conversations.
What perfect timing for me to drop out.
Perfect timing for him to drop.
So anyway,
I
just
didn't hear anything about
brought
the Penn
this up.
State Clemson game. I dropped off. That was
Yeah, I know how convenient. Yeah, well done, well played, Hank. Yeah, so I just pulled this picture out because Beth sparked that memory, and I was literally digging through shoe boxes of pictures, and I found this, and I thought,
That's
how
amazing.
fun to yeah.
Amazing.
I gotta say, I gotta
that's a good
shout
one.
out to Beth in terms of for only being a camp 1 year, her impact
Her impact is huge.
is so far beyond 1 year. And you know, we when talking with her and but to see these pictures and the connections she made, like here and with Jeff Caliguire, and
Yep.
yeah, I have to make sure she sees this because that's great.
That's great. I think she might be in another picture too. All right, what do we got here? This is Jen. This is
Yeah,
Cheryl.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent.
so this picture these are all lifelong friends of mine, and so the story here is that and Donnie alluded to it, going up to camp at New Year's was a big deal, right? Like you just looked forward to it, to get back together with your friends and kind of reconnect. And the reason I put this out here is Jen Thompson. I remember this little outing we did, like the Kunjamuck 5K, just went out and skied it. And Jen just complained and just it was like a nonstop, just sarcastic rant the whole time.
Oh, that's
the thing is-
amazing.
The funny thing is, if it had been anybody else, I would have found it incredibly annoying. But I just connected with Jen's sense of humor, and I actually thought it was hilarious.
She is funny. There's no
Yeah.
doubt.
Oh,
She's
Jen
funny.
Jen is literally hysterical. And so I just found that, because just having seen, Julie and Jen and Cheryl had just been on a recent episode. And so I found this picture with them, and I just thought it was good fun. And it just brought back memories of, Jen just going skiing through the woods, just putting on a show. She should have sold tickets. I mean, it was
Oh, that's awesome. So where, like,
Good
looking
one.
at the six of them there,
yeah, so that's
where
the
would
lemon tree.
have stayed, like in the winter, like the
Oh,
Nielsen's house or
well, I don't, maybe. So yeah, the Nielsen's obviously they had a year-round cabin. Kathy did too. It's very possible they stayed, if it was during New Year's, then maybe, Cheryl and Jen stayed at camp. I don't know.
okay, yeah.
I would guess that Karen stayed with Kathy. That's purely a guess, but yeah,
Oh yeah, the Riding X. Oh, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
This
yeah.
is awesome. All
Very
right. We've seen this picture before.
yeah.
Oh, I found this in that same deck of pictures. I just thought it was so much fun. Well, Amy's in there,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, we're
It's Kathy
You got
Weisberg, Tom.
Kathy Weisberg. We got
Yes.
this was
Sweeper.
Steve Malbeck, is that what we said?
Yep.
yeah,
Malbeck.
and
You got Nick Fiore on this side.
The Deerfoot
Fury on
Spear.
the right there.
This
Yeah,
is the future Mrs. Purdy.
Mrs. Purdy there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is just kind of a shout out to the whole lip sync thing culture. We had that whole thing going on for those number of years, of course.
Yes.
Crazy little thing called love being the absolute pinnacle of the whole thing, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
there were others. There were.
I was just going to ask you, who won the inaugural lip sync contest, air band contest? Oh, that's right. It was me and Don. Okay.
I believe it. You guys were the kings.
Oh my gosh.
Johnny Bellin, the crustacean, and we had
Yeah,
no
that
idea he was
is
going to be able to do that. Like that was.
okay. The next picture I'm doing this on purpose. I have two of this picture. So I think different people took this pic or
Oh, that's really funny. I love it. Yeah.
I think you gave us this one, but
No, I gave it.
we
I
have
gave
this.
it the other. That's it. Yeah. So this was the crew that summer. So obviously it was I guess that would have been 88. What was that? At any rate, we'll call it the Beth Dodds summer.
That was
And so
80.
there's
That's
Al Lang.
87.
There's the guy. So there's Al in the front there next to Karen.
Here he is again. Yeah.
Right
Right.
here. This is
Yeah,
Ellen.
there he is.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the great memories. And the fun thing is like,
Stud one, stud two. You guys look like you could be brothers here, by the way.
yeah, I think his last name was John Dave. He was up in the dish room. What was his name,
Okay.
Johnny? Dave
tall fella
Johnson,
there?
something. He was from Colorado, I think.
Okay.
I think Dave John. So in all
Yes,
truthfulness,
Dave Johnson.
I
Dave
I
Johnson.
sent this picture to Karen Gard this morning and said, "Hey, Karen, who are some of these people?" And
Yeah.
so she positively, and she gave me Dave Johnson's name, and then maybe the guy in the middle with the athletic addict shirt, Kenny Wig, maybe that was a Karen guess as of this morning. I don't know.
Okay.
That's unverified. But at any rate, yeah. So just good memories of the beach and dear friends.
Yeah.
Great memories. Oh, to be there, like, wow.
Great picture. Okay. We have a family picture here.
Yeah.
What
And-
year would this be?
I'm guessing it was like 86, 87.
Okay.
Yeah. So my sister Michelle on the left there worked with Bob Peck. She was a bookkeeper at camp
Okay.
for several summers. I would say 3 summers. Michelle, she also did like Carrie Mankey. They did like a gymnastics show thing. So she
Yeah.
was
Wait.
part of that as well.
Remember that? Yep.
So yeah, so my sister, and then my mom there in the foreground. It was really funny. Cheryl Olson mentioned that her mom Barb had run the craft shop, and then my mother must have then picked up where Barb Olson left off because my mom ran the craft shop. I don't know,
Okay.
6, 7 years, something like that. She had a good long run there in the craft shop.
My
Okay.
couple takes away from this picture is it's different to see like Mark with a shirt on, and your parents, they were just honestly 2 of the nicest people I've ever met. Like just like they were incapable of not being nice, at least publicly. Like they just every time you would talk to them, they just they would ask you how you were and smile, and I mean that's just at a base level. They they were so consistent with that. So seeing
I
them,
was very blessed. My parents were absolutely amazing. I have nothing great things to say about them. I consider, my parents to be just an immense blessing to me and to my family. I love their memory. My dad never was on staff officially, but he did his fair share of volunteering. He volunteered in the sort of in the welcome area out front. I think preseason he would go over there and mow and weed whack and do all kinds of stuff. So he was a faithful staff volunteer. My mom was, I think she took care of all the flower boxes around camp for years, planting them and keeping them weeded and looking sharp. And she did quality control on Saturdays with all the housekeepers. She would go through and just make sure everything was up to snuff before the guests moved in. So, yeah, my parents were epic Camp of the Woods volunteers for many years. They loved it. They loved camp.
Okay, let's talk about more family. What do we got here?
Yeah, so this is young love. This was the summer that Heather and I met at camp. And
I
yeah.
don't remember waves like that at camp. Do you know?
Yeah, well, that was so my wife is from the North Shore of Long Island, and we went out there. I went out there to actually meet her family that summer, that Labor Day, and believe it or not, a hurricane rolled through, and so that's the chopped up surf from the North Shore of Long Island Sound. But that was that same summer that we met up at camp.
Okay.
nice. Yeah, I'm looking at this picture when you said that, like when you met, and I'm like, Tom, if we were on boats, we would be like, let's talk to Jimmy. We might want to cancel front dock ski today.
Might want to.
Tom would still do it, but we were
Something
not
tells
going
me we're not going to get a lot of calls. Yeah.
to.
Yeah, so Heather's from Long Island. So yeah,
That's good.
that was literally a couple days after we had left camp for the summer. I
Okay,
went down and met her folks. And we were married less than 2 years later.
Nice.
I love it. And this is the wedding day, right?
Yeah, this is my baby, my little son Teddy in the middle
Oh.
there. He's like 6'2", he towers 6'3", he towers over me. So yeah,
Okay.
so he and his wife Claire got married in Lancaster last September, and
Where
so
they
those are my
live?
babies. So Anna Kate is on the right. So she lives
Okay.
out in Tacoma. She's an engineer in Tacoma.
This
And then
is your daughter.
yep, that's my
This is
baby.
your wife,
That's Heather. Yep.
and this is your son's wife. This is another son over here.
Yep, that's my son Miles, and he's worked at camp many years.
Okay.
So all my kids worked at camp for
Okay.
at least 3 years, probably longer.
So
Um,
Don and Dave, do your kids know each other from camp? Are they the same ages or?
Did they work together?
So I know that my kids know AK through Tapawingo,
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
so-
they know Teddy more through maybe Liberty. They
That's
bumped
right.
into him at Liberty back when he was there, right?
yeah. But I always thought it was really special because our girls, when they would be out at Tapawingo, they would kind of like look at each other and go, "Our dads are best friends, right?"
Oh,
Oh,
excellent.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, dads are best friends. That's right." And so I actually appreciate that they understand that connection
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
and
Well,
have an
we
appreciation for that.
appreciate that, that we can maybe through this, build on that. If they ever find the time to watch this, they can learn that, hey, it's pretty special that you have that connection.
Oh,
They'll be
absolutely.
making these
Yeah.
videos 35 years from now.
Absolutely.
All right, I have been dying to talk about this all day. What is
Oh
going
yeah,
on
me
here?
too. I saw this and I'm like, I can't wait
Yeah.
to see this.
Okay.
About that.
All right. So I brought a prop for the occasion. Hey Hank, check it out.
Oh, nice. He's
Isn't
got
that
it.
awesome?
So you guys won an award
Yeah.
for this too?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
he did.
Excellent.
The wins recognition. So, but how do you get into this? Like,
So we lived there. So we lived in Steamboat. We were on staff at Steamboat together the winter of 90-91. So
okay.
we both worked for Steamboat Ski Corporation. We both well, we didn't flip burgers, but we made food at a restaurant halfway up the mountain. You had to take the gondola up there.
Yeah.
So you tell, it's your story, Donnie. I was
Oh
just the
no.
idiot who followed your orders. So you tell the story.
Yeah, this end of the season they had a cardboard classic, and the only thing we could think of is what are we gonna make, Dave? We're gonna make something. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And so we went to the nearest hardware store that was selling refrigerators, and we found some massive, really, really thick refrigerators boxes, and we're like, wow, what can we do with this? So we had a little apartment. Flake Sherrill, that's the guy in the middle from North Carolina. He was our third roommate, and
Yeah.
we think built this thing right in the family room for months.
Once.
Keep going, Dave.
Yeah, so it literally took over the entire apartment. And so Donnie, the engineer, I mean, it was basically a perfect replica of a 1984 tricolor 2001 ski nautique. It was like down to the dials, like you can sort of see
It looks
through the
amazing.
windshield there.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then I skied down behind it at the day of the race on cardboard water skis with Chuck Taylor's duct tape to it. Yeah.
That is amazing.
And
you,
so we said,
you
yeah, so
won.
Donnie sent it into Nautique News and they printed it in the Nautique News.
Oh, how could they not? What a
Well,
treat.
yeah. Okay. How far did you actually have you guys ever watched the Red Bull contest where they drive like they're like bikes and cars made out of cardboard and they don't go very far. How far did you go?
It was basically down the equivalent of their bunny hill. So
Okay.
I don't know what, Donnie, a couple hundred yards, something I don't know. It wasn't real long.
Yeah, so I drove, Dave, you skied, Flake, he spotted, I think, and we had no steering, so it was not fast. And at one time, I think, Dave, you skied in front of the boat.
I did. I beat the boat down the hill.
That's so fun.
Wow.
Dave, I didn't know this article. I never saw the article.
You never saw the article?
No, that's awesome.
It really is awesome. Look at the last paragraph. The Ski Nautique won a trophy for best
Yeah.
reproduction of a person, place, or thing. Like that covers everything.
Yes.
Here it is. If it was all legible, there it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wow.
And Dave, I think you still have some of the video clips from when we were there videoing, and there were some guys just
amazing.
maybe a little three sheets to the wind, but they were making some hilarious cracks about us, weren't they?
That could be most funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, so actually,
It is
so now that
amazing.
I took my blur off, I have to come clean. So actually, both of you will appreciate this. Is an OG Oak Mountain T-bar here.
Oh, well done.
That is way cool.
Is that not awesome? Yeah.
Well
So-
done. I have
And
one
I
of those.
can't believe
as
your
well.
langs are still holding together in one piece, the yellow lang.
Yeah. So that's like that Lang boot is like a celebration of youth and freedom. And Don Miller. That's what that ski boot is a celebration of.
That is so
It looks so
good.
cool. The way it's like angled into already, like already gives you to lean in a little bit. Like
Yeah.
You know how many times I fell off of those T-bars growing up? Oh my goodness.
where'd you fall off? Like, let me guess. After the
That
halfway.
steep part.
Yes, going up, and you've got to use a lot of abs during that part.
Yeah.
Yep. I was trying to tell my
Usually
daughter.
my brother would push me off, or I'd just fall off. One of the two.
Yeah, at least you had some, hill to go down and make a left. Well, not a right, a left to Kunjamak. But I was there a few weeks ago. When you get off halfway at Kunjamak, there used to be that big mound jump. It's
Right.
gone, completely gone.
Yeah. Halfway
Like-
hard.
Yeah, like it was never there. So
They took it out of there. I guess it was too much of a liability or whatever.
Yeah, I
noticed
can
it.
understand. So it must have been just a giant boulder that I always wanted to see that, like not in the winter, like what that looked like. Someday I would like to take a walk up there, and I guess I won't see that, but I can imagine it. So
Yeah, it's worth the hike for sure.
yeah.
We should get
Sure.
together and ski sometime, all of us,
Oh,
Oh, absolutely.
like you just did, Tom.
like I just did. That would be a blast.
Would be.
Yep.
Would be.
Yep.
Like Oak Mountain is not very big, is it? Like I,
No, but it skis bigger than it is, honestly.
It's got
It does.
character.
It does. It has character.
Yeah, I skied in North Carolina this year, and Oak Mountain was pretty big compared to North Carolina slopes.
Oh, was it? I saw your post there, Don. Yeah, going up the chairlift. I was impressed that you were still. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, we won't keep you any longer. This has been fantastic, as expected. I've raised the bar on my expectations because these interviews have all been so good. So I was expecting a lot from tonight, and you guys delivered. So I appreciate that.
And
It's
any
been
closing remarks while we sign off, or just
I did want to, it's only because my wife brought up this story that I feel like I need to share this. And it's about your mom, Don. So my wife was on music staff several years apart. 87 was her first year. She was a junior in high school. So she was fairly young. And there was so she was working with Eric Bucci, another sort of music staff legend. And so they were paired up as a wait staff or a team. And some guest was just being belligerent and just being unkind. And my wife, Heather Freeman at the time, went back and she was just so distraught. She was like in tears, and your mom saw her and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And Heather explained to your mom, like, this is what's going on, and they're being rude, and I don't know how to deal with this. And your mother went out there and basically told this guest person off and stood
hmm,
up for Heather and Eric and defended them. And they were on the porch and they moved them, moved them to a different section, moved them to C
hmm,
section. And Heather just felt like your mom did a great job of advocating for them and didn't just necessarily blanket say, oh, the guest is always right, because the guest was clearly in the wrong here. And your mom identified that correctly and then advocated for them in a way that was really memorable. And, here it is, probably 40 years later, Heather remembers your mom sticking up for her up there on the hill. So
wow.
just wanted.
Yeah, my takeaway from that, Dave, is that in the years that my mom would oversee the counter and the servers, she had a good sense of character in terms of getting to know them. She could pick up on their work habits and how they were, and there were in the same situation you just described. Um, there, if someone would have come to her with that story, she might have been more skeptical in terms of, I taken in what she had observed from that person, but in most of the cases, they were like Heather in terms of, yeah, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'll hear more and then take it from there and handle it that way. So yeah, I love hearing that because I could picture sitting in that room. Tom knows that room too. We ate back there a lot of times,
yeah,
and that was her kind of
sanctuary.
place to be, the sanctuary. But she knew that that's where she could be reached, and if there was a situation where she was needed, she was ready. But yeah, that's interesting story
Yeah.
to wrap it up.
I
And
wanted to get that story through Heather's eyes about your mom.
yeah, yeah, yep. And she would have hoped that the guest, would have found the situation to be reconciled and have a great rest of their week and come back forever. But in that situation, you know, that's how we'll take care of it right now. So,
Yeah.
but Dave, yeah, I just I appreciate so much, uh, how we were led to have this conversation, and I was so excited when you said that you would join us, and it has been fantastic. And I know that there'll be more questions I have for you, but yeah, well, how wonderful to catch up with you, and
So fun.
yeah, been great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to catch up and to see you both. I've been looking forward to this. I can't even tell you. Highlight of my week for sure, and greatly appreciate the opportunity. And thanks for this platform. Really, it's special.
Thanks. It's a lot of fun. It's so fun just reconnecting with folks and seeing you, talking with Don Miller again. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, God bless. We'll see
All
you
right.
soon.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye now.
See you. Bye.